What is up, awesome people? And welcome back to another Wi-Fi Wednesday shenanigans! Okay, so still continuing on with the International Challenge from way back in February. We are nearly near the end of February, thank God. So tonight, hopefully I've got a few special things for you in regards to Wi-Fi Wednesday. So stick around for the end of the video. There is going to be, of course, the team overview, which shows the IVs and EVs. And not only that, I do have a bit of a blooper section for you because something really hilarious happened. So some hilarious shenanigans happened, which I'm going to put at the end of the video. So make sure to check that out as well. So anyways, on to the first battle for tonight's video. We have a battle up against Fluffy. This is on day 3, I do believe. So we're near the end of, as I said, the International Challenge for February. Very long time, but as I said, we're eventually going to get there. So they're going to leave with the Tapu Koko and Tapu Lele, which is absolutely devastating for my team because Lele just completely counters me at this point. And this is before I introduce things like Toki Damaro and Drampa onto my team, as well as a few other Pokemon. So at the same time, Tapu Koko can hit my Slowbro for quite hard with Thunderbolt or something like Wild Charge or something like that. So regardless, I'm going to swap into my Vikavolt here because I don't want to lose Hariyama just yet. Tapu Koko does go for the Taunt, forgetting that Slowbro does have the Oblivious ability. So that doesn't work, so I can still set up my Trick Room, which is awesome. Tapu Lele going for the boosted Psychic there. It's going to absolutely smack my Vikavolt for an extreme damage there, bring it down to the very low red. Luckily enough, I did manage to live, so I can do some damage, though the Tapu Lele does go for the Protect there, which is kind of disappointing, because I did go Bug Buzz on my Vikavolt, and at the same time, I went Scald on Slowbro onto the Tapu Lele, so no damage that turn, unfortunately, which was really unfortunate. So Dazzling Gleam there from the Tapu Koko, that's going to take my Vikavolt, unfortunately. So Vikavolt came in, took a massive damage, thought I was going to do something awesome there with Vikavolt, but unfortunately could not turn it around due to a Protect. So Vikavolt goes down in vain, unfortunately. Mudstyle comes in, which is great because I can go for the Heavy Slam onto the Tapu Lele. Luckily, I didn't go for the double Protect there. Tapu Koko does go for the Protect instead, which is fine by me. I did Scald the Tapu Koko, so Slowbro failing once again to land an attack. But the Mudstyle does finally make a connect, my first attack for this entire match, and does OHKO the Tapu Lele with a Heavy Slam. So that was doing like something like 200 or 300 damage due to how light the Tapu Lele weighs. Anyways, Metagross comes in. I'm like, okay. So I make a very questionable move here. I do go for the Scald on the Tapu Koko. That brings it down to the orange. However, what I should have done, because that was a big misprediction on my part, I actually thought Earthquake was going to kill, which it doesn't on the Metagross. Tapu Koko would have gone down anyways with the Earthquake. However, the weakness policy kicks in on the Metagross, and I was like, oh no, I probably should have Scalded the Metagross, which means it can go for the Zen Headbutt. That is going to go for the Mudstyle. I was like, fingers crossed I live this. I don't live that. I was like, oh, that's not good. So because Psychic Terrain is still on the field, I can't fake out the Metagross, and the Pelipper comes onto the field. So that is their last Pokemon in reserve, is the Pelipper, and my Hariyama is also my last Pokemon in reserve as well. So I've revealed all 4 Pokemon, and they've also revealed 4 Pokemon. It's an extremely even match at the moment. I go for the Ice Beam, and at the very best, I can hope for a Freeze Axe, which I don't get. Go for the Close Combat, so I smack the Metagross for super effective, and I was like, okay, that's finally gone. I got rid of the Metagross, which was awesome. Thankfully, Trick Room managed to stick around for another turn, but I think that's my last turn of Trick Room. Hurricane comes off the Pelipper. It's going to smack my Slowbro there instead of the Hariyama, which was kind of thankful. I'm like, okay, I can probably turn this around. Oh wait, my Trick Room disappears. Yeah, that's game. There's absolutely nothing I can do at this point. I'm at the complete mercy of Pelipper, and because there's red on the field, it can't miss. I was like, hopefully it's some type of weirdo Pelipper set, but that's just very optimistic thinking there. So Hariyama bites the dust, and unfortunately that's a loss for me. I reckon that one misplay on the Scald there actually may have killed my entire match. But oh well, that's how it goes, I guess. So there we go, that's match 1 all done and dusted. As I said, extremely close match, except for the fact I did do that huge misplay with Slowbro onto the Tapu Koko instead of going for the Metagross, which leads us on to Battle 2. Now this one went extremely interesting. All 3 battles tonight are actually quite interesting. I think at some point they do go like extremely close, which is great. These are kind of like almost the gems of International Challenge for February, so hopefully you guys are enjoying these. So anyways, they're going to leave with Tapu Bulu and Celesteela, so 2 extremely tanky Pokemon in regards to VGC. Tapu Bulu, if you ignore the fact it's got ×4 weakness to poison, and Celesteela it's just Celesteela, it's just whatever there. Okay, so I'm going to fake out the Tapu Bulu there because I don't want a Horn Leech or a Hammer. I would hammer hating my Slowbro because that's a definite OHKO there. There's just nothing I could do in regards to my EVs to avoid that. So I'll go for the Trick Room there, which is lucky because I need the Trick Room up in order to go for Poison Jab on the Tapu Bulu and take that out. And then probably just swap out the Slowbro because there's not much I can do to Celestia at this point. Okay, so Leech Seed was set up as well from the Celestia onto my Hariyama, which is probably the best thing they can do, predicting I had the Flame Orb on the Hariyama to get the guts up. So from this point, I stay in with the Slowbro. I do go for the Scald. At the very best, I'm going for the burn damage here, which I don't get. I think at this point at the time, I was refusing to get a burn on my Scald. Go for the Poison Jab on Tapu Bulu, so I do take that out, thankfully, because that was going to be like extremely scary. It was super effective against Slowbro, super effective against Mudsdale. Probably had the chance of OHKOing my Mudsdale as well, without any stamina boost. So at this point, it looks like it's going to be a tanky Celestia with Leech Seed, Protect, Flamethrower, and Heavy Slam, I do believe. So it's going to get leftover recovery plus Leech Seed recovery as well. So this thing's going to be healing a lot of health thanks to those two particular things going on there. Plus the grassy terrain recovery as well. So 3 loads of recovery is a lot of recovery. So I need to deal with this thing probably ASAP or try and make it so I can take it out pretty quickly. So the next Pokemon in reserve is going to be the Alolan Golem. So I was like, oh, this is nice. But at the same time, I got to be careful because they had a Gastrodon in their team preview and they did bring in a Gastrodon, which makes me think this is going to be a Galvanite Golem. So I was hoping they didn't bring the Gastrodon, went for the Skull, but unfortunately ended up boosting the Gastrodon special attack instead, thanks to its Storm Drain ability. So I go for the close combat there on the Golem. I luckily OHKO it due to the fact that it's got Galvanite instead of Sturdy. So I was like, phew, it's really lucky it had Galvanite because I would have been in a bit of trouble otherwise because I would have lost Slowbro and Hariyama probably to just one Galvanite there and Gastrodon would have just swept whatever was left in my reserve, which is probably Vikavolt and Mudsdale, I think. Okay, so I've got a Gastrodon at +1 and they're going to have Celestia in reserve, I do believe. I've knocked out 2 Pokemon already, I do believe. So that comes in, and I think at this point, oh yeah, it's 4-2. It does look like it's my advantage at the moment, but looks can be quite deceiving as we're just about to find out. So I go for the Scald on the Celestia, still no burn. That +1 Scald though, however, is going to take out my Hariyama, and I was like, oh boy, this is not going to be good, because Celestia took us up another Leech Seed on my Slowbro, and just watch the pain flow, and watch the recovery flow as well. Although, to be thankful, Grassy Terrain doesn't have much left, which is great. So that's once that disappears, there's going to be a lot less recovery for Celestia. So Leech Seed's slowly going to sap in my Slowbro's health there, whilst the Celestia's just going to be gaining all the health it can eat. Mudsdale comes on to feel, I was like, okay, I'm in a really desperate situation here. I need to go for like a Rock Slide so I can go for the flinch. I'm going to swap out my Slowbro as well to try and predict something coming my Slowbro's way. I'm not really too sure what I'm doing that. Oh, Earthquake, that's why, because I got nothing to protect my Slowbro from Earthquake. So I'm really desperate to take out that Gastrodon at this point, so I'm going for 100% damage on that Gastrodon, and it does absolutely bugger all, so it's like, oh, that's not good. So even with the Assault Vest, max health in my Mudsdale, I'm going to take that quite relatively well, but I do get burnt from the Skull, so I was like, well, that's probably Mudsdale dead. There's not much I can do here. So Celestia also carries Hidden Power Ice, but due to it being a bulky set, I'm just going to hang on there with 11 health. But unfortunately, I think Burn is going to be enough to take me out for that range. Oh wait, Grassy Terrain. Thankfully, you're still around. So I'm just going to take the burn damage and give me one chance to like either flinch or do something against these 2 particular Pokemon. So Celestia's still eating up all the health it could want. I'm burnt, so I'm going to live again on just 11 health. And of course, the Trick Room wears out. So luckily, I've got Slowbro still in reserve, which is great, and the Grassy Terrain does disappear, which is great as well. So no extra recovery now for the Celestia, but that does also mean I don't get a recovery myself. So Scald once again going from the Gastrodon. It didn't really matter who it went for at this point, but it chose to go for my Mudsdale, which was actually saving grace for me in the end. I won't spoil why, but I do go for the Bug Buzz here because it was the best bet I had. It was either go for the Gastrodon or take out the Celestia. I thought going for the Gastrodon was actually better in the long run because I could take out the Celestia hopefully with whatever if I can get rid of the main threat on the field. And there's most likely a good chance that Gastrodon has recover as well, so which is probably a bigger stall than what the Celestia is. So I'm going for a huge risk here. I'm going for the Protect on the Vikavolt. Flamethrower happened from the Celestia, which is going to miss, and the Gastrodon does go for the Toxic. So as I thought it was going to be one of those standard doubles Gastrodon set with Toxic, Recover, Scald, and I think maybe Ice Beam or Sludge Bomb as its last move. So I get the Trick Room up. And at this point at time, I was like, there's not really much I can do at this point. Slowbro is toxic, poisoned, and I'm nearly dead with Vikavolt. So I decided to stick around for one turn and lay it all on this one ice beam. And at this point, I screamed, freeze, freeze it at the scream. And guess what? I froze it. The one thing I needed, and it happened. I managed to stick the battle around by freezing the Celesteela, which actually nabbed me the entire match. Even if I did manage to take out the Gastrodon. Remember, I think at that point, Trick Room was up. I'm not sure if that made a difference, because I did manage to take out the Gastrodon at that point with Bug Buzz. But the problem was, obviously, the fact that Slowbro was nearly dead. And there's no Leech Seed up as well, so Celesteela had no way of recovering. So I do believe the freeze may have not made a difference. In the end, I was actually quite worried the fact that I couldn't take that with the Bug Buzz. But regardless, we're on to the last match here. We've got an extremely interesting battle here. Extremely quick one at that too, so don't blink, this one's going to be over before you know it. So strap yourselves in, we're in for a real fast ride here. So as you can see, they're going to lead with the Pheromosa and Tapu Koko, two extremely heavily offensive Pokemon in regards to VGC 17. Going to lead with my usual lead here, Slowbro and Hariyama. Electric Surge is going to activate from the Tapu Koko. So at this point, I was like, who do I fake out? Do I fake out the Tapu Koko or do I fake out the Pheromosa? I was more worried about the Bug Buzz coming from Pheromosa and absolutely destroying me. But unfortunately, the Wild Charge Tapu Koko happens. I was like, uh-oh. I don't live physical Tapu Koko, and Hariyama does not live physical Tapu Koko either. I didn't do damage calcs with physical Tapu Koko. By this point as well, this is the very first physical Tapu Koko I've ever seen. So I'm extremely nervous by this point. I'm like, oh, no Trick Room either. I'm in a lot of trouble here. Oh, look at this. It's also going to be a Z move, Pheromosa, and it's going to come off high jump kick most likely. So I'm in a lot of trouble here. If Mudstail can't live this move, it is game over right here, right now. So all I could do was watch the screen and hope, please Mudstail, please have enough bulk to live this. This is coming off a lot of base power as well, and considering Pheromosa's amazing attacks that as well, it's almost like a Deoxys A. So I'm looking out and going, I just managed to live. I just lived. Oh my god, that is absolutely amazing. So Mudstail, being the god horse that it is, lives. And Brave Bird coming from the Tapu Koko is going to go for the Hariyama. And as I said, there is no way in this wide world I'm going to live that. So Hariyama is going to go down. But thankfully for me, both the Wild Charge and Brave Bird damage recall from Tapu Koko, plus the Life Orb on top of that as well, is going to be enough to take out the Tapu Koko. I was like, phew, free KO. That's about the best thing I can ask for at this point. And I went for the Rock Slide, surprisingly enough. I was thinking why I didn't go for the Earthquake. Maybe I thought they weren't going to go for Brave Bird or something and just like go for another Wild Charge or something. I don't know what was going through my head. But luckily it connected and took out the Pheromosa. I was like, phew, that's really lucky. Okay, so we're both down to our last two Pokemon at this point. There is a Pyukumuku and a Celesteela on the opponent's side, and I have Vikavolt in my reserve at this point. So obviously these four Pokemon are like my MVPs for the very first IC that I went in, which was February. Okay, so again, another bulky Celesteela here. It's going to do just a little bit under half damage there to my Vikavolt. I'm going to do 3/4 damage there with Thunderbolt and get the paralysis as well, which is awesome. Remember, I've got no Trick Room at all in this game because I did lose Slowbro on turn 1. So I go for the Rock Slide, and I just miss out on the kill there with the Rock Slide on Celesteela, bring it down to the red. Pyukumuku doesn't get flinched by that and sets up the Toxic on my Mudstail. I was like, oh damn, because I know Pyukumuku runs things like Soak, Recover, Toxic, and one other move could be Protect or something like that. I forgot. I can't remember, but regardless, I'm poisoned. That's bad. Alright, so at this point, I think I predict the Celesteela going for the Protect, so I got really cocky here and think, okay, I'm predicting a Protect, let's go for the Pyukumuku, because I'm not going to kill it with Thunderbolt. Oh, what are you thinking, KrimZen? I just OHKO'd the Pyukumuku, and of course, In Is Out's going to kick in and knock out my Vikavolt. I was like, oh, that's bad. I don't even think with the paralysis, I'm going to even outspeed the Celesteela with the Rock Slide, so I was like, that was a really risky play I just did. So this is going to come down to all or nothing here. If that doesn't get paralyzed or whatever, it's going to be game for me. So Celesteela, instead of attacking, went for the Protect there. It fails. I go for the Rock Slide and actually connect and take out this Celesteela. I was like, wow. They got really cocky thinking they weren't going to take me out with Heavy Slam or something like that, or didn't have any other moves like Flamethrower or something, and felt they weren't going to take me out, so they went for the Protect instead. And ended up costing the entire match. And luckily for me, as I said, managed to hit with Rock Slide. That was extremely on edge and an extremely good battle. But anyways, guys, that's it for tonight's first Wi-Fi Wednesday. I'm kind of hoping to put up another Wi-Fi Wednesday. Hopefully that goes without any problems. And as I said, make sure to stick around. There is one more little shenanigans to show, which is little bloopers from day 3 of February's IC. And of course, we'll leave you with the team preview in the outro. So until then, this is Lady KrimZen saying ciao for now, but not forever. Ciao!